Last few stragglers, if you can take your seats. All good, Stu? Okay, welcome back. Hope everyone enjoyed their lunch. It's always a great opportunity, the PWI lunches, to get together with friends and colleagues and share some war stories. Good to see some of the people I haven't seen for a long time, in this environment. So I hope you all had a nice lunch. Just again, a quick one. Everyone's probably been on their mobile phones over lunch, so if you can just quickly turn them off or turn them to silent, that would be good. So respect the panel that's here. So for our third session and final session today, as I said earlier, it will be chaired by John Armstrong, who is the Managing Director of Artifex. Arch has been one of the great supporters of the PWI over a number of years, and in fact Stephen Omoski, who chairs our subcommittee for the convention, is a Director of Project Services at Artifex. So really appreciate, John, the support that you give, or your company gives to the PWI. In this final session, we've got a panel of industry experts, as you can see here, and they'll be mediated by Steve Flex, so I'm looking forward to that. Steve is from John Holland. And I suppose what we're after from the panel is really to be challenged around the theme of doing better with less as part of this debate. So after that, we'll have a final paper for the day, which will be delivered by Emily Williams, who's a Director of Electrical. I'm not sure we'll invite this 5% back anymore, guys. Imagine at 10. Emily is a Director of Electrical and Network Assets for Transport for New South Wales, and Steve Voss, who's a Learning Facilitator Specialist for Substations with People and Culture in Transport for New South Wales. They'll be introduced in more detail later. But they'll be presenting an important paper on how we've developed industry capability at the Chullora Electrical Learning Centre. But before I introduce John, just a reminder that the networking drinks is on for the last time. You need the blue wristband to get into the venue. If you don't have it, you won't be able to get in, so everyone's been warned. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce John as our chair for the final session. Just a little bit about John. He's been delivering rail and metro projects as a client, contractor and a consultant for over 30 years. And he's worked on projects in both Europe, the Middle East, India, East Asia and Australia. John first came to Australia in 2002, immediately after working on the first stage of the Delhi Metro. He's held various positions in Transport for New South Wales, Downer and WSP, where he helped to develop and design and deliver rail projects and road projects across the east coast of Australia. After a second posting in India, building SMEC's international rail business, John returned to Australia in 2014 and formed Arch Services. Arch merged with Artifex in 2019 to create Arch Artifex, which has grown to 50-odd people, with offices in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. As I said, Arch is one of the leading independent providers of safety assurance and systems engineering. In addition, they provide a range of project services, including project management and controls, comms and stakeholder engagement, constructability, environment, sustainability and engineering project management. So would you please join with me in welcoming John to chair our third and final session for the day. Thank you, John.
Thanks for that, Mark. And I guess this is my first chance to ever stand in front of the PWI, and I just want to extend a huge thanks to the PWI. We're massive supporters at Arch. We support financially, we support personally, and of course we've got Stephen Omoski on our committee. I think it's a brilliant institution, and I enjoy it on a personal level, and we benefit from it on a professional business level. So it's fantastic. If I could get the first of the slides. So I just wanted to, the price of standing up here is I get 5 minutes on the company. So I've only got a couple of slides. I'll keep it quite short. I founded Arch in 2014, and I guess in 2015 we could afford to be corporate sponsors of the PWI, so that's one of the first things we did as an organisation. It's a great way, I felt, to give back a bit to the community. And I think as rail professionals and rail businesses, we've really got to back into the bodies like this. The first two major contracts we got were Sydney Light Rail and Sydney Metro. Now, the reason I say that is just to say that that's where we come from. That's our core. That's where we grew from. We're heavily committed to rail in New South Wales, and this is our society. In 2019, we merged with Artifex, which is Steve Namovsky's company, and really from there, that stepped us forward quite aggressively and quite quickly. This year, we've opened offices in Queensland and Victoria. In Victoria, I pulled over an old friend of mine, Tom Caster, who I'd worked with in WSP, I'd worked with in SMEC, and Victoria's gone crazy down there. We're already turning over 20% of the business out of Victoria. Queensland is a bit more of a slow burn. We're still on the investment stage of Queensland, but we're hoping next year it'll break through. At the moment, we're about 50 people, which is a really interesting size for an organisation, particularly when it goes interstate, because we have to start doing things differently. We have to get comfortable with things happening outside of my eyesight. So, you know, I'm really enjoying that. And at the moment, we're growing 20 to 25% a year, which I think is a lot about us getting the profile of our services right and the clients going, yes, that's what we want and that's what we want from you. So if we go on to the second slide. So this is our blend of services. I think the first thing to sort of philosophically recognise is the project's king. It's what you achieve for a project that makes the difference. We don't do the core of the services. So if you're a contractor, your core service is being able to build something. What we provide are those non-core services. We provide those support services. So whilst there may not be a core service for a contractor, they are our core services. They are commercial grade services. We have to be good enough to win the work and deliver the work on budget. We have to be good at this. We've got no choice. In a similar way, a contractor's got no choice but to be good at construction. A designer's got no choice but to be good at design. The client, what they need to be good at is quite a more complex discussion. So our biggest service lines probably are the safety assurance and systems engineering. We're pretty dominant as an independent on the metro projects, and really it was our market penetration in New South Wales. We thought we'd probably cap that, and that's what drove us to go out interstate to Victoria and to Queensland. We've got the independent safety assessor role on MTM, and we're getting a very good leadership team in there with Jonathan Louis and Andy Petrie. The original service line is up on the top left. Originally, and Artifex's core skills were in the engineering project management. That's still a strong part of our business, but what we've decided to do was expand our portfolio of services so we could better support and move away from a secondment bums on seats model and go to more of a services model. So you come to us, you don't get one person, you get the whole company, you get a blended resources, senior, junior, expensive, less expensive, and we can give a better service. We can turn them on, turn them off as we needed on the project demands. The next one was project planning and controls, and Ish Ahuja came over to us. I worked with Ish on Sydney Light Rail, and he's with John Hollands, and that's gone gangbusters. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, but over the last year, that's grown strength to strength. We've now got team leads in New South Wales and team leads in Victoria, so they're doing a great job. Comms and stakeholder management, we got David Wilson in there. It's quite a different service to have in an engineering-based firm, and we quite like that. We quite like the difference of their personalities. They're a lot more social than most of our engineers, and they handle people a lot better than we do sometimes. But they're really nice to have, and it's something our clients reach out for us. We're probably 50-50 between helping people deliver projects and being more strategic in our comms management. The final and the new one that we put in this year was we brought over Gareth O'Brien to kick us off in environment and sustainability. We're just starting that, and we've had a great start. He's doing great work. We've got more work than we can handle, and we're desperately out there trying to recruit in and build that team. So really looking forward to what happens next year. So the journey we've got at the moment, it's a work in progress. We're doing pretty well. I think it'd be great to stand in front of you in another 2 or 3 years and say what we managed to become in 2 or 3 years and what lessons we learned on the way. So that's really all I'm going to talk about with Arch, and thanks for the time for listening.